I'd bet most of you watching this right now are not in a concentration camp. You're not fleeing war, you're not fighting for survival, and yet something still feels off. You wake up, you go through the motions, you've got a job, you got people who care about you, maybe a place of your own. On paper, your life is fine, but being fine isn't the same as being alive. There might be this quiet feeling underneath everything, like you're running on fumes and yet you can't figure out why. Like you're busy but you're not building anything. Like the days are passing but nothing is actually accumulating. That's what I call the drift. And the drift is more dangerous than failure, because at least failure means you tried something. The drift asks nothing of you, it just takes your time, quietly, one comfortable day at a time. Most men don't even notice it's happening. They think they're just tired. They think it's the job. They think they might just need a new holiday, a new relationship, or maybe even a better routine. But the real problem is simpler and harder than any of that. It's not a goal. It's not a plan. It's a reason. Something that makes the discomfort worth it. Something that pulls you forward on the days when nothing else does. Viktor Frankl figured this out inside Auschwitz, the least comfortable place that's ever existed. Frankl was an Austrian psychiatrist, a brilliant man. He had spent his entire career building a new framework for psychology, one built around a single idea, that the deepest human need is not pleasure, but meaning. He called it logotherapy, and he believed that a man who knows his why can survive almost any how. It was a beautiful theory. In 1942, he was arrested, and in 1944, he was sent to Auschwitz. The manuscript he'd spent years writing was stripped from him at the gates. He'd watched it disappear. Years of work, gone. What followed was something most of us cannot fully imagine. Extreme cold, starvation, and forced labor. But here's where it gets interesting. Frankl started doing something inside the camp that most people would never think to do. He started observing. He watched his fellow prisoners the way a doctor watches his patients. And what he noticed had nothing to do with physical strength. He watched healthy men surrender and die. He watched fragile men who by every physical measure should not have survived, keep going. The difference wasn't strength, nor was it luck. The men who survived had something ahead of them, a face they needed to see, a question they needed to answer, a task they believed only they could complete. They had a reason. Frankl's reason was his work. Even after losing his manuscript, he began reconstructing it on scraps of paper he found in the clothing of dead prisoners. He wrote in margins. He smuggled notes, not because he believed he would survive, but because the work was the reason to continue. And continuing was the only thing he could control. American soldiers reached the camp on April 27, 1945. Frankl walked out. He made his way back to Vienna. And one by one, he learned what had happened to his family. His wife, gone. His mother, gone. His brother, gone. He was the only one left. And he sat with that. And then he went back to work. Not to escape the grief. Not because he had healed, but because the work was what he was for. He wrote his book, Man's Search for Meaning, in 9 days. It has since sold over 16 million copies and has been translated into 24 languages. Purpose is not something you find, it's something you build through action. Most men are waiting to feel it before they start. They think purpose arrives like a text message. They're waiting for the moment it all clicks. That moment doesn't come first, it comes after you start moving. And that's what Frankl proved in the worst possible real-world conditions. Purpose is not something you find, it's something you build through action. That's what this is really about. Frankl didn't find purpose in the camps, he brought it with him. He had built it through years of committed work before the worst happened, and when the worst happened, that purpose became the thing that kept him alive. A reason so real that it survives the bad days, the failed attempts, the losses, the mornings when you don't feel like it. That's what keeps you going. Not motivation, not a vision board, not a 5-year plan. If you don't build that now, while things are relatively comfortable, you'll be be at the mercy of every uncomfortable thing that life throws at you. The drift will win. Because a man without a reason doesn't just drift professionally, he drifts in relationships, in health, in who he's becoming, in every direction that matters. And one day, he looks up and realizes that the man he could have been is behind him. If watching this video actually helped you learn something, I wrote a book called Do Better. 14 chapters built around the problems that actually keep you stuck. Discipline, purpose, money, focus, the habits quietly draining your potential. Each chapter ends with something you can do that day. If you recognize yourself in the drift I described, then this book is for you. Links in the description. Use code CHANGE, that'll get you 33% off, but it's only for the first 50 people. And if the book's not for you, subscribe anyway, we're just getting started.